I want to talk about UFC 318 on July 19th. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3 for the BMF title. I want to talk about, I think this is all wrong. I think it's great that Dustin Poirier is retired. My favorite fighter of all time is retiring in New Orleans, bringing UFC back to New Orleans. And I guess in that sense, dude, the UFC hasn't been in New Orleans so long. It has to be a pay-per-view. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why. It doesn't. But July cards are always kind of poop. But you knew the moment that you made this fight that fans were going to shit on it. One, because fans are going to say this is the third time Holloway's down 0-2. Fans love to pick and choose when fights matter. Like, Dustin versus Max Holloway has the equivalent value today as Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor in 2014 at featherweight. At featherweight. Dude, Max Holloway made his UFC debut against Dustin Poirier on short notice. Short notice UFC debut. Dude was like 18, 19 years old. They were tadpoles. That win does not hold that much weight. Okay, the second time they fight, Max Holloway on short notice again, fat, out of shape. There's like a bunch of asterisks around these fights. So this is the closest, this is the best fight that we'll get where both men are as close to their prime. Poirier's a little past it, but I believe Max Holloway's still in it. Or maybe at the tail end of it. So this is the best form. This fight will be the fight where we get the best form of both fighters, the closest against each other. So it's a banger fight, but it's all wrong. Then you throw the BMF title on it. The BMF title just is literally the most stupidest thing ever. When it was first created, it was already stupid. You have The Rock presenting the UFC BMF title. The Rock. Okay, cool. You just wanted to add a title for a pay-per-view, make a pay-per-view, spice it up. Okay, whatever it is, whatever. Max Holloway wins the BMF title in a badass motherfucker fight in a badass way. Loses to Ilia Topuria and he's the BMF. How is he the baddest motherfucker? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I get the title wasn't on the line. I understand. When Volk lost to Islam, Volk wouldn't get the featherweight title. I understand all of that. But the title was just stupid. And it will almost be a joke on Dustin Poirier's legacy if he was to win the BMF title. It's a joke, and I'm hearing retire the BMF title. It's kind of a mockery. Because you're not really a champion. You get paid like a champion, which is good. But you're not really a champion. So I have a few things to show you why this was just all wrong. First of all, make this a fight night. New Orleans. Make this a fight night. Very reasonable fight night. New Orleans, gotta have a pay-per-view. Dude, you can't have Dustin Poirier in this retirement fight on a fight night. Why not? Why not? And I love Dustin Poirier. This comes from the biggest Dustin Poirier fan ever. I have a signed Dustin Poirier war hat over there. This can be a fight night. And immediately 50% of the hate that the fight's getting, it's already diminished. It's a fight night. You're not going to tell the fans, dude, you're getting Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway for free on a fight night. Who's going to complain about that? Who's going to complain about that? And don't say this isn't reasonable. This is 100% reasonable because you're probably not going to stack the card anyway. It's a Louisiana card, so you're going to have Louisiana fighters. You're probably going to bring Matt Schnell out of there. I forgot what my girl name was, but she said she wants to fight on this card. She just fought not long ago against Yanesi Dubin, something like that. She got her first win in the UFC. You're probably going to have her on the card, right? You're going to have down south people fighting on the card. So it's already probably not going to it's still time. And it's a July, that says June 19th. It's supposed to say July. It's a July card. So it's already not going to be stacked. The odds are already stacked against it. Make it a fight night. And it's 100% reasonable because we live in an era where we have Israel Adesanya fighting on a fight night. Dude, it was in Saudi. Dude, the Saudi money. Who gives a fuck, dude? The UFC has plenty of money and they're not going to stack this card. It's not going to be a lot of fighters where they have to pay. Israel Adesanya, probably the second greatest middleweight ever. All the accolades, all the championship fights, all the pay-per-view main events. Firstly, off of a title fight in his last fight. On a pay-per-view, main event. Just fought on a fight night. We live in an era where we're going to Atlanta. We have Kamaru Usman, probably the second greatest welterweight ever. All the accolades, all the title defenses, all the huge fight win streak. He's fighting on a fight night. So this is 100% reasonable. And it looks better. And it's hard to complain about Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway on a fight night. It's a fight night. And the pay-per-views are already glorified fight nights as it is. The pay-per-views aren't stacked anymore. The pay-per-views this year have been glorified fight nights already. UFC 316 and UFC Baki are damn near the same. But then so it's a fight night. Now the rest of the people, they're going to complain, well, Max is still down 0-2. Even though it's a banger fucking fight. Max is still down 0-2. This is why I believe the UFC went wrong. Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier is probably my top choice for what should have been the retirement fight. You do a rematch of one of the most brutal fights to ever happen. One of the most brutal fights to ever happen in the sport, in the company, in the history of fighting. And you do the rematch. This one wasn't even in front of a crowd. You do the rematch in front of a crowd, an electric crowd. And you know Dan Hooker's going to be game. So he's going to put on a great performance. He's going to be game. It's going to be a war. Probably even a more entertaining fight. You missed out on a perfect opportunity. And it makes sense. Because a lot of people say, dude, you're risking Max's contender at lightweight. You're risking Max. If Max loses to Dustin Poirier and Dustin Poirier retires, he's cooked at lightweight. I disagree. Because Dustin Poirier's, I think he's ranked top 3 still. I should have did my research, whatever. But Dan Hooker's a guy who's ranked 5 or 6. Dan Hooker wins. That's a great fucking win for Dan Hooker. He's closer to the title shot that he's trying to get to. And if he loses, well, Dan Hooker is not Armand or Charles. So, you know what I mean? This would have been a great fight. But I know he has a big injury. So I'm doing woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's not possible. I know he has a big injury. He's talking about not fighting again. I disagree. I don't think that's the case. But he has a big injury. Probably wouldn't be better for July. Okay. The trilogy. The trilogy. It matters. It does get Justin Gaethje closer to a title shot. No matter what the fuck he says. I don't think Dustin Poirier gets me closer to a title shot. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And it's a trilogy. We're settling the score. Justin Gaethje said he doesn't want that fight. I understand. So the only reasonable matchup you're left with is Max Holloway. And if this was a fight night, I guarantee you it wouldn't be getting that much hate at all. And everybody would be tuned in, ready to watch a banger fight night. Because this as a main event is a banger fight night. And they'll be okay watching those 10 ads every fucking fight. My point is, if these UFC pay-per-views are going to be glorified fight nights and not stacked at all, unless it's an international fight week or it's a 300, 400, 200 pay-per-view or a Noche, even though that card wasn't even stacked on paper, but the hardcores knew the matchups on the fight were bangers. It was a banger card. To the main event, kind of left a sour taste in your mouth, and the co-main left a sour taste in your mouth. I'm really talking about the undercard. You can just make this a fight night. This for free and this for $80 is a big difference. I'm going to be going to this fight. And I'm going to enjoy myself. But I think the UFC's doing this all wrong. You're giving Dustin Poirier a fight that I really like this fight. I'm really talking about from the aspect of other fans. The way they're viewing this fight, the way they're just turning this fight down. They're turning it away. They did the same thing with Holloway versus Gaethje. They did the same thing versus Holloway versus Gaethje. I mean, it's going to be entertaining, but dude, Gaethje just hits too hard. It's just a bad matchup. And it turned out to be a banger fight. So after the fact, I know when this fight ends, everybody's going to be like, banger fight, beautiful fight, and be very appreciative of it. But in the lead up, it will be much better as a fight night. And you gave Dustin Poirier a matchup where everybody loves Max. Nobody wants to see Max lose. And then now they're making this narrative where he's down 0-2. He's never beat Dustin Poirier. How he's going to beat Dustin Poirier now? Even though Max Holloway's leaps and bounds better than he was back then. And you're counting a fight from when he was 19. It's like making Shepe Mariscal versus Joannis and Brito. And saying, well, when they were in the regionals, Brito knocked Shepe out. So, dude, I just don't know. It's just not a good fight. Like, it's just bad. It's so bad. It's bad logic. But you're also making it for a BMF title. And we all know the one thing looming over Dustin Poirier is that he never became undisputed champion. It almost feels like here you go, Dustin. We know you can't be undisputed champion, but what about the BMF belt? And we're just not going to respect that much because we don't respect the title as it is. If we don't respect that title while it's around Max Holloway's waist after what he did to win that title, how are we going to respect it? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know, should this have been a fight night? Let me know the matchups I know you're going to say Gaethje. I know you're going to say Hooker. I think Hooker would have been the perfect, most beautiful fight. But Hooker's injured. It is what it is. I don't think Patty would have made sense. I don't think Charles would have made sense. So we get Max. And it's going to be a great fight. It is. I don't know why you guys are acting like it's not going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great boxing exchange. Both opponents are going to be game. We're going to have plenty of point to the center moments. It's going to be in New Orleans. The Vibes are going to be electric. Trust me, I know. But I think this should have been a fight night. And I think that would have decreased a lot of the hate that this fight's getting. Like, comment, subscribe, share me. Share this to somebody I know they enjoy just like you did. You ain't got to go home, so you got to get up out of here, man. Yeah.